Hey folks, this is Brian. We got to play Elderath last night, and I was just noticing as I was running some test feed that my volume may be kind of loud. Not sure, but we'll do what we can, right? Okay, let's see, where are we? Close that over. Too much happening at once, and failing to prepare ahead of time. Okay, so day 5 of week 1 of Czar, which is month 5. It's still summertime. But anyway, so last session we entered into the J entrance, cleared it all the way to the secret door that had the dead bugbears on it. And that secret door goes into a storage room, and we hear, sounds of breaking wood. Perhaps it's people fighting, and that's swords on shields. We're not sure. Anyway, so Runt does his little, he's got a torch, so he's trying to peek in, but gotta get light through because he can't see in the dark, and it's kind of, just throw the door open now. Anyway, he opens up, he sees some goblins, so we all start piling in. There are 3 nearish the entrance we come in. Runt and Helmier engage the first 2. Raymond came into the room. We didn't know about the third one. I think it happens because um, Wes has the flashlight spell, and he was flashing on the room. That's where we saw number 3, I think. And so he pulled his rapier, preparing to engage the goblin if it comes to him, but Raymond intercepted that goblin. Well, at the same time that happens, twang, 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 3 bow shots from the darkness. So Wes flashes over there. He sees 3 over there, so he runs that direction and engages with two no, one goblin. There's one goblin up and then 2 against the far wall. So he engages the ones up, but the other 2 then surround him. One of them fumbled. Okay, so there's 3, so they're all surrounded. So somebody's going to get a bonus, and the other 2 don't, kind of thing. But one of the front guys fumbled. His helm got dislodged, and he's at half his percentages for 1d3 rounds. I think it was 2 he ended up with. So Wes then targets him and attacks. He did not get a special, but he did like max damage, if I remember right. And now that his rapier is also his +2 staff, that's a d6 +3. So that was 9 points. He's got 3 points of armor, 6 go through to his chest. Negative in the chest, he goes down. That was cool. One of the arrows earlier when he got shot in the chest and did enough damage to bring him down to just 1 hit point in his chest. Maybe that was the very beginning. No, maybe all 3. 2 of them missed. Wes tried to do the whole deflections thing, but his spellcasting didn't work. I still see. I understand the concept of you can only cast 1 spell around, but when a spell has 0 preparation, it's like a reaction. Can you get more than 1 reaction? I don't know. I guess in the other game, you only get 1 reaction, but you also get bonus action and stuff too. So I don't know. It just kind of throws me that there's a defensive spell I can throw, but then I can't do anything else. Or if I do something, I can't throw the defensive spell. I can't quite figure that out just yet. But anyway, he did get shot in the chest at one point. And get engaged by the 3 goblins, and he kills that one pretty much outright. One of the other ones hits him in the leg for some pretty decent damage. So he's hurt. And at that point, Wes says, okay, I'm done playing games. Sleep 7. The two goblins by Wes go down. But the other ones aren't affected. They made their saving throws. So while all this is going on, one of the other goblins, I think, got killed. One escaped out the secret door, and after the 2 went to sleep, There's like 2 left, and one of them tries to escape out. So we do a little slow down, segment by segment, who's moving where. Because Wes, his 2 guys down, he looks around. Okay, who's left? What do I need to do? If everything's taken care of, then he'll just start killing these 2. But if there's something else going on that he may need to interact with, he'll interact. And sure enough, one of the goblins tries to escape coming towards him. So he steps forward and got him in the abdomen. Again, massive amounts of damage, enough to put his abdomen below at 0 or below. So he's slumped down. The other guys kill the other goblin. They come down to dispatch the 2 asleep ones, and Wes is just kind of watching the hallway in front of him. There's this goblin starting to crawl forward. Okay, let's use. He puts his foot on his back, sticks his rapier in the back of his head or his dagger, because he had to switch because Wes has been doing the flashlight out of his primary hand. I'm going to switch that to doing the secondary hand. So he's got his rapier out now because rapier can do some stuff too with spells and things. So he, Wes kind of pins it down. At that point, Hjalmar comes up and says, "Yeah, we should just put him out of his misery." And Wes agrees, "Okay, yeah, take care of it." And then he steps back and turns around. Okay. So we do further exploration. There's that room that we think has undead in it that's barred up that we had bypassed previously. The script on the sign is the same as the script that's on the Forg made swords we found previously. So ancient, semi-elvish or something like that. But the barn door is really heavy. So Raymond and Hjalmar, get on it. We still can't lift it up. Okay, we'll try again later. Oh no, they did try again. Still work. Okay, yeah, we'll come back to this. So we continue on, trying to clear out this area that we've been through before, just make sure there's not anything there. So we come north and then go west, and there's a split north and south. South is towards the cell, and Runt and Hjalmar go down to the cell to look for Runt's lockpicking tools. While they're down there, Hjalmar finds one, but about that time, Raymond and Wes up north, keeping watch on the hallways, hear something coming from the west. So we kind of gauge up and, hey, there's something coming. And these guys come in. So this giant lizard comes around the corner. It's like a 2-hex lizard, plus, it's got a tail, so we're going to do some stuff. And there's a side, she reminds me, live plays and discussions. There's a little side comment about, dragons and their tail swipe and their bite distance and that kind of stuff. Just a little sidebar between me and one of the players. So Wes has a lightning bolt. Sorry, has a lightning bolt saved. It's a rune, is what it is. A rune in his staff, which is his rapier. And so he's wanting to use it, right? Plus, it's a lightning bolt. We haven't done lightning bolts yet, and this is a big creature. So a lightning bolt should work, right? So Wes, everybody kind of merges up onto the giant lizard. So Wes kind of moves to the hallway. So he's got no, he doesn't move at first. He's sitting there at the corner, and he's getting ready to fire a lightning bolt. And the call by the GM is that it's the same as firing a missile weapon into melee. You don't know who you're going to hit. I conceptually, I understand that. Mechanically, though, I just rolled to cast the spell. Yeah. I feel like it is like magic missile. It hits if I cast, right? Kind of thing. And we don't roll for location. We don't roll to hit. We just roll to cast. But that's his call. Good to go. So he pulls his rapier and moves so that he can engage the giant lizard as well. And everybody's hacking at it. And sure enough, Wes gets a critical hit to the head. Right in the eye. Kills it outright. And there were some comments on the side about, yeah, I'm the magic user. Okay. So we retrace our path back. There's some rooms that connect in the hallway twice, and there's a secret door goes up into a bedroom that went around to a temple area, and the hallway comes up and they connect, and then there's 2 side entrances that I thought connected. Apparently don't, because one's got stairs goes down to just an empty room. But anyway, we're at the temple area, right? And there's that wall that's got these figures kind of moving on it and stuff. And there's a throne, dais, and an altar, and benches and such. Oh, and everything we've run to has been ransacked by these goblins. The goblins have gone through and just destroyed everything. So we get here, and we're kind of just moving around. We're using owlbear, and it's got that active lighting thing. So Wes is moving, his flashlight around, and then moving around with it. And things happening, so we can, let's scan around what's happening, what's going on. And it does have a room because Wes came back around, and that's when we noticed that Runt wasn't there. Or wasn't like with them. Um, He makes a scan roll, some listen rolls. Okay, then we notice that Runt is at the altar. He's kneeling down in front of the altar. He's chanting. He's got his hands on the altar. So Wes rushes up there. There's this purplish glow that's emanating from the altar under Runt's hands where he's got them placed on it. So uh, Wes calls everybody, hey, the altar's doing something to Runt. And he grabs Runt by the collar and tries to pull him away. As he does so, there's this purplish, sickly, fog-like substance that's like stuck to his hands and stuck to the altar. So he's still stuck to the altar as I pull him back. Raymond casts protections on Runt, and Wes casts Master Kind on Runt. It's one of those control spells, right? So he'll do what I tell him, kind of thing. So it's like, run, get out of here, kind of thing. Is what Wes is thinking, right? But both spells fail. Um, Metagaming, the GM's talking with Runt. Hey, somebody's casting spells. Wes is casting spells on you, and those are always offensive spells. What are you gonna do? Resist, resist, resist. He's got this voice back saying, "Don't let them do this. Don't let them do this." So I think he actually made a saving throw on one or maybe both of those. So at that point, Raymond and Hjalmar grab Runt and they pull him together way. I forgot what Wes was doing at this point. But anyway, Runt is doing what in RuneQuest we call spirit combat, right? And the spirit made some really good rolls, a couple of odd something. So he's got some specials, maybe in a critical in there. And after 2 rounds, Runt gets possessed. So Raymond uses his sword pommel to knock Runt out. That's the intent, knock him out. But he actually rolled a critical success on his to hit. So people start talking about crushing his skull. And the GM says, hey, you can always pull damage, right? You can pull your blow so you don't do as much damage. That reminds me of a game we were playing in Harn where we were escaping from somewhere and one of the players was a dwarf and we get in a boat because we're going across this subterranean lake. And as soon as he gets to the boat, he realizes that he's afraid of the water, starts to freak out. So one of the players grabs on the oar and whacks him, and it was a critical success. So we can get some effects because Harm Master's not so much about damage; it's about effects. And in Rose's case, she goes head, and we all start thinking, "Uh-oh, a crit to the head." And it turned out to be like a K3. Which is 3 dice against your Constitution to kill you outright. And if you save on that, then you got 4 dice against your Constitution to be knocked unconscious, and you end up killing him. But anyway, that's another story. So he pulls the damage and does enough damage to Runt to put him below 0 in his head, but not negative his head value. So he's in that category where he's unconscious, bleeding out kind of thing. He'll die in 5 rounds kind of deal. So anyway, Hjalmar at that point Fireman carries Runt and takes him out, and Wes and Raymond go back, get the giant lizard, which is only size 20, so it's big but not huge. And the two of them then drag the giant lizard out. And we all go back to the camp with Captain Krim. And, okay, let's take him to the priest. And we tell the priest what's been going on. He says, ooh, we're going to have to do an exorcism. And the priest is successful. And we all notice that the spirit, when it got exorcised from Runt, went back into the cave system. Okay, so we rest for a couple days, get people healed up, get magic points back. Runt during this time is having these nightmares about being on this rolling hill plain, right? It's all burnt, and he recalls an offer from that location about fulfilling his desires. So it's a euphoric feeling, right? And he talks with Raymond about that, and later on he talks about Wes about the spirit combat stuff, and what's it doing? It's eating your soul, kind of thing. Oh yeah, it probably is. Your soul can heal, but you never know if there might be lingering effects. So we rest a couple days, and the day after that, we discuss options with the priest on going into destroy, and hey, can we actually destroy? Because Wes is thinking lightning bolt, lightning bolt, lightning bolt, um, on the altar. But the priest doesn't think that the altar will easily be destroyed without the spirit first being destroyed. Okay, but we need to ensure the rest of the cave system is clear, and then he will come in and address the spirit. Okay, so we go back in at entrance K at this time, do a double check of the area south of there. That was a shrine and all the skeletons, right? And then off to the side there was a room with a couple of rooms with the zombies that they did. And there are dead goblins in all three of these locations. No sign of trauma on them. They're just dead. We go back north to where we had not yet investigated. There's a door to a bedroom that's been ransacked. And then we go back to the door with the sign, right? This time we're able to get the bar off, and there's stairs going down, and down to the bottom of the room, because we're all saying, okay, don't go into the room, go down to the bottom of the stairs, the bottom of the hallway, look into the room. What do we see? There are pews in the room to the south. Can't quite see much more. Raymond is thinking, or maybe we suggest to him about detecting evil, but you got to detect evil on something that's got like a 5-foot radius kind of thing, right? So Wes, gets up front and kind of leans to the one side, and kind of shines the flashlight out there as we can see, and there's an altar at the side. Okay, check out the altar. And while the altar does not radiate evil, Raymond does get the feeling of malevolence. And then Raymond kind of makes a comment as we're coming down. Okay, let's not enter the temple that was blocked off when the one that was open kicked our butt. So this chapel runs north-south. The altar's north, I mentioned, benches to the south. And behind the altar is a mural, similar to things we've seen before, right? There's a penitent guy praying before an altar. It's that very ancient Lorathian feel, right? Raymond casts cancel channeling on himself, and then goes to enter the room to examine the altar, start searching for secret doors. Wes also tries to do cast cancel channel on himself, because he's got a spell list that's similar. But it didn't happen the first time. Okay, so people start coming to the room at this point. Raymond gets the feeling that this is the closest they've been to Lorath since any place that they've been, right? So we start asking ourselves, hey, is it sacrilegious to move the altar? Because they notice that it's off center. Cleans up a section of the floor, and there are marks there indicating the altar had been moved. And the surface is like gleaming underneath, and so Wes uses his breezy spell, clears off all the floor, and so the floor is not textured, but it's constructed such that it looks like water, right? And it produces this gleaming effect. So this whole chamber looks like we're underwater, kind of thing. Oh, and there are wall sconces up and down in here too. Okay. Runt then recites an ancient prayer, and all the torches start to glow blue. And it makes the walls seem further away. It makes it feel even more like we are deep under the sea. So we attempt to center the altar, and we hear a voice in ancient Norse which Hjalmar is able to understand. It's a male voice asking to be freed. Free me, free me. But at that point, Raymond's pretty sure that that's the malignant source that he felt earlier. So at that point, we head back to camp, explain the two issues. Everyone is very excited about this new temple that we found. The priest said, call it the old shrine. The priest says we should visit the old shrine first, then deal with the desecrated altar with the spirit. Okay, spent the night. Next day we head to the old shrine. 4 of the guards stay at the entrance to the the hallway with the stairs, right? So they're inside, just up the stairs from us. Krim the priest, they come down with us. Raymond shows them where the altar had been moved. And the priest looking at the mural is looking at the mural, right? And he's got this ooh look, and he says to Krim when he's pointing the mural, goes, "It's a vigil before entering into an order." And he mentions something about Hedda. Krim looks at the altar and then back at the mural, and she pulls her sword out, and then all of the sconces light up, and the blade starts to reflect the same light, this light blue, almost like it's made of water, right? And she goes up to the altar. At that point, everyone hears this bang that emanates from the altar. And there's this concussive wave we all feel, right? So the priest casts a couple of spells on all of us, so we are all now plus 30 on our offense and plus 30 on our defense. And the altar shakes again. This time it actually moves, and a clawed hand comes up, and it pushes the altar aside, and it climbs out. It's this insectoid. Uh, it's probably more like a lobsterish, a crustacean demon, right? And it attacks Krim. Well, Krim, when she pulled her sword, there's this special barrier that comes up, and we get up as close as we can to her and the barrier. What can we do to help? But the demon attacks her 3 times. She parries all of them using her great sword, which she's now using one-handed. Special effects, I guess. The priest casts another spell on her that gives her the appearance of Lorath on Earth kind of thing. It's one of the spell loss spells. It's like aura, because aura, your hair rises, wind blows through things, and you look big and glow and that kind of stuff, right? But this is even more so. So we're doing what we can to help her. I mean, she's hitting the demon, and at one point she amputates one of its limbs. But we hit at it, and when we hit it, our weapons have to make. They don't even make a saving throw. It's kind of a saving throw. They take damage, but the damage is decreased based upon how magical they are. As soon as that happens to Wes with his rapier, he stops doing that. He starts thinking, what kind of spells can I cast? And he mentions lightning, and the GM has make an idea roll. This is kind of an underwater motif. Maybe it actually acts like water, so lightning won't be the best thing. And so I start thinking about the shocking cloud. But it's the same thing. It's electricity criticals. So okay, he'll throw an overcharged shock bolt, and we've been discussing about how much you can overcharge shock bolts. Shock bolt spell list up to 10, so we can technically cast a third level, if you will, 15th level shock bolt, 3 magic points, right? So it does 3d4. So he casts a spell, makes a spell, but the demon's got magic resistance, and I'm not sure how the GM is dealing with magic resistance. Normally, it's like he's got 50% magic resistance. I guess you roll a 15% percentile, but he had me roll power versus not power versus power, but spell level against its magic resistance. And so my spell is coming off because it's 3 magic points, so it's a level 3 thing coming across. But I don't remember what the die roll was now, but the demon's magic resistance countered the magic. And so Wes is really starting to freak out on what is he able to actually do in this combat. Because other people are hitting, and some of the guys can do some damage, but then their weapons are taking damage. I'm like, this is not a good thing. And at that point, we were actually hitting midnight, and last night I was wiped out. So I was at the edge. Going, okay, guys, after this round, I'm done for the night. So that's what we called it. So I've been thinking about Wes and this demon and what he can do. Because I started thinking at first, okay, well, I'll start throwing first level sleep spells at it, sleep 5. Because as we discussed earlier, the sleep level of the spell doesn't ever increase. It's always got a power of 12. It's just how many opponents it can affect. And I kind of think maybe the spell level, the power level should increase with the spell level as well. So sleep 1 is first level, sleep 7 is fourth level. I can see those both being 12, but the next level of sleep above that is 2 magic points to cast. Maybe instead of a 12 power, it should be like a 13. I'll talk to the GM about that. That way, if he does an actual Lord Sleep, which is a 10th level spell, it actually has a chance of getting somebody of some kind of power down. Now, just an idea. Another thought that came to me actually this morning was I've talked to the GM about overcharging with magic points just to get through the magic resistance. And we'll see how that goes, because with the Star uh, Crystal, he's got a ton of magic points he can dump to a spell if he needs to. The question then comes down to, okay, what kind of spell is he going to cast? Because it's got to be something that affects him, and this thing seems to have at least 11 points of armor. Because some guys are doing 11 points of damage and it's not getting through. So damage affecting is not really going to work. It's got to be something else. So I'm going to figure that out. Happy gaming.